because gravity is going to work, and I'll show you what that means. So just like we did before, when we were kneeling or sitting, we're going to have one hand stacked on top of the other, okay? So you can do this upright if being on the floor does not work for you. So as you come to constructive rest, you take one hand back and then the other hand. Doesn't matter which one because we're going to switch. And you want to take it as high as you can without your arm bones coming off the floor. So now you have a tactile means of sensing whether your shoulders are rolling forward or not. So you really want to keep your upper arm bones on the floor. So the lower your hands are in your spine, the more achievable that is for most people. Alrighty, so from here, what we're going to do is take a couple of breaths. I want you to feel how the quality of your spine changes wherever your hands are when you breathe in and out. And then when you're ready, you're going to press the hand that is touching the floor. Remember, your palms are not touching your body. They're facing the ground. So the palm that's touching the floor, the back of that hand is going to press into your other hand. So take a breath in and then exhale. Press the floor hand into the back hand. And then inhale and then exhale. Press the hand that's palming the floor into the hand on your back. And just continue to do that. And again, just to reiterate, your palms are facing both of them into the floor. And then as you exhale and inhale your rest, fill up your body. Feel how that part of your spine and the flesh around it react to your inhale, and then exhale, press that hand in. We're going to do that a couple more times. Then we're going to relax for a moment. So exhale one more time. Press it a little bit longer if you can. And then when you're done, just remember which hand was touching the floor. So for me, it was my left. I'm going to remember that because my arms are coming apart for a moment. And I tend to forget things very quickly. So remember the left hand's touching the floor, and then let your arms stretch out a little bit and just feel the difference between both sides. Like, how does the front of your left shoulder feel in the biceps and the forearm, the fingers, maybe even like where, your chest is or your neck. All of that could be affected. The back of the body, the side, and then think about the right arm and what feels different. If you don't detect anything, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. Could be that not much has changed, or it could be that you're still developing like that inner awareness, which is really, in my opinion, what the practice of yoga, asana and all is about developing anyhow. How your internal world works and how much it affects what's going on around you. So here we go, side 2. So remember, try not to pick the same side. So for me, the right hand is touching the floor, and the back of my left hand is touching my back. For you, it might be different. In any case, the arrangement of your hands could make a difference. So one hand being in the front might feel like no problem. The other one might feel like a problem. So adjust where your hands are on your spine accordingly. And we're going to inhale. Inhale into the back of your spine and the fleshy parts on either side of the spine. So think about that, the fleshy parts on either side of your spine. And then when you're ready, exhale and press the hand palming the floor into the hand on the back. And then inhale, release. Now, for me, my right side is a little bit more troublesome because it has a history of injury. So it feels a little bit weird. There's actually some pain in the shoulder joint. And since no pain, no gain is really not a motto that's particularly healthy for most people, unless you're like a high-level athlete and you have to push through your body's screaming for help. In any case, don't deal with the pain. Just move your hand. You don't have to be a hero. And then we'll do this 4 more times. So for me, I had to move my hands down because I was feeling some pain. I'm going to try moving them back up again. See if maybe my body has chilled out. And it has. It has. So sometimes your nervous system does overreact a little bit because it might be protecting something. Sometimes it's right on the money. You need to listen. All right, good. So from there, let's release. Feel the difference between right and left side. Just check it out. Your arms can stretch out, or they can just sort of be a few inches away from the side of your body. I'm feeling huge differences on this side, up in my neck even, which I didn't feel on the other side. So that kind of what it's doing is it's sort of informing you like when, your arms are doing normal things, because we didn't do anything big. It was very slight motion. So maybe when you're doing things with your arm and shoulder muscles, maybe your neck is getting overly involved. And that might explain some neck pain or things that you have. In any case, I'm not here to diagnose you. Let's stretch our arms back, pull our knees towards the chest. Mine are pretty wide right now. And then you can stretch your legs out a little bit, or a lot, depending on how the backs of your legs are feeling. And then we're just going to flutter them a little bit. And then when you breathe into the space between your shoulder blades. Think about that whole space. So breathe into the back body. And then we'll rock and roll a bit. That actually hurt a little bit. So what I'm going to do, once I come up, I'm going to arrange myself in a way that I can sit comfortably. Right now that's this. So feel free to take something underneath the legs, because you want to have a kind of a sort of like a wave-like motion in your body. We're going to do eagle arms. We'll be using this later in a standing pose, probably eagle pose. So arms forward, and you're just going to do the interlace the fingers, palms out. Next time you exhale, pause right here. And then inhale, pull up and down. Bring it back to your center. Inhale. Turn your palms. Interlace your fingers. And then exhale really slow. So you're going to take your hands. Let your hands rise to the chest, the heart. Flip them at the heart or thereabout. And then exhale down. I'm flipping mine at my throat. Just seems like the comfortable place for me. Inhale. Just a couple more times. And this arm movement will come back as well. And then next time you come down, take your right arm over your left and come to eagle arms. So you can cross your elbows as far as they'll go and give yourself a squeeze. And then if that seems to work okay, you can cross your forearms above the elbows, which if you have short upper arms could prove difficult. So no worries. There are advantages to having short arms. And then from the eagle pose here, you're going to do a little cat-cow. So here's your exhale position with your turtle shell packed on, and then inhale. Pull the shoulders back, arms to your chest. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Okay, let's do the other side. Again, think about, how does right feel next to left? How different do they feel? Was I even able to do that pose? Was I stuck embracing myself? Which actually, that's not a bad place to be, quote unquote, stuck, you know. So let's do left arm. Sound effect is optional, and then we'll give ourselves a little squeeze and see how that goes. And then if that feels pretty comfy, you can go to the Garudasana arms, eagle pose, and then you can inhale, shoulders back, elbows into the chest, and then exhale. So I'm just isolating the upper chest, by the way. When I round my shoulders forward, my tailbone is not tucking forward. Some people, their whole spine just moves like that. They don't even realize it's happening. So try to isolate your upper spine as much as you can with this movement. And then we'll do 2 more. Excellent. Okay. Yay. Molto bene. Okay. So before we get up, if you want to take a brief little stretch forward, you can. And while you're here, you might as well. And then we'll do a little twist. So take your right hand to the left shin or ankle and open up your chest to the left. And then feel free to take your left hand to your left hip, to the small of the back, or maybe all the way to the right hip. You might even grab a piece of your clothing or somewhere along your right thigh muscle. Very good. And then from here, we'll do the other side. So left hand somewhere to the right, could be your shin, your knee, or all the way to your ankle. And then right hand comes to either that hip or it travels across the spine or the hips, both really. And then maybe it goes over to the left. Sometimes my brain gets stuck in too literal mode. And then you guys suffer for it, sorry. And then try to make that, that twist mostly in the upper spine. Again, we're isolating upper spine here. And then we'll come forward. Good. So we're not going to be in a tabletop position for very long. I wanted to do some more standing work today because I've been missing it. But we are just going to do a couple of really fast stuff here. So knee padding, if that is required for you. We're going to go into cat-cow, but it's going to be slightly different. I mean, you can do the normal traditional cat-cow. So remember, I know y'all have done this with me before, but just make sure that if you have this big spread from your wrist to your thigh, that you're keeping your hands wider than shoulder width. Okay, my fingers don't really even stay on the mat. And then we'll inhale and exhale as we do in the cat-cow. And this time, let the entire spine move. You can wag your tail. In fact, I highly recommend it. I encourage it. Exhale. Inhale, maybe you bend your elbows and tap them to the floor. Exhale. Pull up and try to make the breath an incremental process. So the breath moves down the spine. So the chest sort of starts to move a little bit first. And then work your way down. And then when you exhale, maybe the tail moves a little bit first. And then your turtle shell is the last thing to come on. Okay, so now we're going to make these a little bit different. So stretch your right leg out to the side, okay? It's going to go out to the side. Your foot does not have to be flat. You just have to have your foot on the floor. And then from here, we're going to move side to side. So you're going to move your hands too. They're not going to stay fixed unless you need to for some reason. So your hands are going to move over to the left. You're going to keep your right leg where it is. And then your hands are going to move over to the right towards your right foot. Now, if your hands do not touch the floor comfortably for any reason, you can certainly use blocks or you can be upright because that's totally fine too. It's going to get the same effect. And you can breathe in whatever rhythm feels good for you. Just make sure that you do have about, a quarter of your focus on your breath at least. What I'm doing is exhaling on the movement and inhaling to pause. And then you're going to pause over on your right foot, okay? And just breathe there for a little bit and try to, if you sort of adopted that cat pose in your upper spine, can you try to minimize that and shed your little mutant ninja shell and try to have a little bit more of a neutral upper spine. And then we're going to walk our hands over to the left and do the same thing. And maybe you stretch your right hand further away and your left hand is your only support. And in fact, maybe you start to sort of rotate your chest towards the sky And then this turns into a version of gate pose. And then you could lift the right leg if you were so inclined. So lift the leg and feel if your tummy's doing anything. Put it back down. If you didn't feel a little bit of your abdominals tense up, maybe move your foot in front of you a little bit more. And then tense up your abdominals just a tad, not a ton. And then lift the leg and try to keep it in the front of your body instead of kicking the leg back. Use the front of your body and then see if you can step forward on your mat to a lunge. That was my knee. And then from your crescent lunge, you come back into your half split, your half Hanuman shape here. If you notice, my foot's doing different things. So I'm coming forward. I want to keep my foot relatively flat because once the heel comes off the floor, then the knee tends to take some strain. So make sure your foot can be, mostly flat. Also, the ankle overstretches, which if you've ever had ankle injuries, your ankles are probably more flexible anyways from spraining them and stuff. So you kind of don't want to go into that area. And then you can move your foot back. And my suggestion is, and we're doing long sequence, we're doing like 2 just really long sequences today. So just be prepared. We're going to keep moving here. We're not going to go back and do the other side for a little bit. So from here, you can curl your back toe under and lift your back knee. That's optional, but we're going to come to like a version of pyramid here. So my back leg is bent, my front leg is straight-ish, and then my front leg is bent and my back leg is straight-ish. So I'm not locking my legs out yet. In fact, I might never do that. Take it easy. Inhale, and then exhale. And try to keep, again, your spine extended towards the front of your mat when you go into that half pyramid shape. You're not forward bending, you're not drooping. So the next time you lunge forward, don't lunge as deeply this time. Move your blocks forward and see if you can use use a mini like ice cream scoop shape in your belly, just a little one, because you still want to be able to talk. And see if you could step forward in one step. If you can't, you can't. No big deal. Just try. But you're at the front of your mat now. And if you're me, you have a toasty little heater waiting for you. And we'll place our elbows on our knees. So go into your downhill skier shape. And you want to sit pretty low. You actually want your leg muscles to get tired. And start to slowly fold over your back legs and hips. And become a rag doll. And if you can alternate bending and straightening at the knees a little bit. If that's too much for your joints, then just find a comfortable place. But otherwise, a little inhale bend, a little exhale straighten. But again, not going fully straight. In fact, I don't feel any stretch behind my legs right now. And I might recommend that that's where you stay, in that place of low to no sensation. And then when you're ready, just relax, let your arms dangle like little pad thai noodles. I may or may not be missing pad thai or Thai food in general. And then sway yourself side to side, side to side. And, your head should be pretty relaxed. So if you're tempted to sort of crane your neck to look at the screen or at something else or somebody else, try to let your head relax, so like you're getting a little bit of mini traction. And then keep swaying side to side. And every time you exhale, stand up a little bit taller. And then inhale, pause, and sway like a little palm tree in the breeze. And then exhale, stand up a little taller. Keep your legs a little bit bent. And keep your tail waggable. So make sure you're not squeezing your glutes for no good reason. And then when you finally find your way up, you can open your arms. Like the Journey song. And then go ahead and shake anything out that you need to. And then feel free, if you would like, to bring your feet a wee bit closer together and try on your tiptoe position. Those little snaps you hear are my ankles. Totally normal. All right, good. And then we'll come down for a moment. Find your chair pose. We did a twist earlier. We're going to do that twist again. So remember, when you're in a chair, you want to have a curve in your low spine, but you don't want to have everything in the front of your low spine just hanging out. You need to have a little tone. So practice with what you think 5 to 10% is of tone. A little bit. And then we'll take our hand, left hand to our hip, right hand somewhere to the left leg or to a block. We're going to take this Pavrita Utkatasana, twisted chair. Like we did earlier, that left hand could go across the back, maybe to the right hip or thigh. Doesn't have to, but it could. And then use your right hand or arm as leverage to get you a little more openness in your chest. You can let your hips move too, but you really want to open up more in the chest. And then I'm going to look down, but you can look wherever you want. Your right knee might poke in front of your left. I encourage that. You're going to breathe here, 2, and 1. Okay, take your right hand on a block or floor. This is probably the hardest thing that, well, I don't know, depends on your version of hard. Your left hand may also come on the floor, okay? So remember, your left hand may also support you. You're going to step your left foot back, fast or slow, it's totally up to you. And you're going to revisit that lunge shape, but you're going to do it opening away from your front leg. So it's like side angle, but you're on your knees. So your right arm is placed somewhere on your right leg, and then you can open up here. And if you want to lunge a little bit more forward, you can, but be careful of that back hip. You don't want to just put all your weight into that. Fantastic. Okay. Good. So take the left hand down. Ooh, I moved that too fast. Take the left hand down and then rotate all of your body to the right, although your back shin is probably going to come off the mat to your left. If you feel like you have the strength, lift your back knee. You can step your foot back with or without that knee support. And you can step really slow with or without the knee, and then just kind of have fun here, whatever that means for you. That could mean going into child's pose. So fun has different interpretations depending on who you're talking to. And then we'll meet, at the back of the mat. Child's pose or puppy pose, take a little break before we do side 2. And if your breath got a little ragged, just try to remember to draw out the exhales a bit. Even though your body might be telling you that you need to inhale constantly. And then we'll do side 2. So originally we were like hands and kneesy. And then our left leg's gonna go out this time. And at first you might just do a few like movements that are stationary, but then start moving your hands over. And if your foot's not flat like mine, don't worry about it, okay? Because a lot of people can't do that. And then coming over to the right side. That feels good. And breathing, making sure that your breath is a focus. It's one of your focuses. And if you want to do what I'm doing, I'm exhaling as I move and inhaling as I chill out. And pause if you want to. Like I'm going to take an extra breath here because this feels particularly lovely. Do, 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 do. All right, so let's all pause over to the right, shall we? And then if you want to, you could stretch your left arm a little bit more, right? I know this is backwards from what we did before, but there's a reason for it, and it's very personal. Walk your hands over to your left and pause there for a little bit, right? So beware of any pain in the back of your knee, like chill out, don't force anything. All right, now we're gonna go back here to the right, and it's personal because I wanted to be here longer. It's all about me, sorry. So with your right hand on the floor, you stretch your left arm out, stretch it like somebody is tugging at it, you know, like a small child. And then you can start to rotate towards the sky. And you can pause here, or you could lift that leg. And remember, we talked about maybe lifting the leg with your abdominals rather than using your back. And then it's possible, you can slide your foot, or you can float and step your left foot forward for your lunge, your crescent lunge. Ta-da! So here we go, we're inhaling on the crescent lunge, trying to keep a flat heel, and then exhaling back, and you can pull the toes back and do your dorsiflexion. Inhale, and exhale. So we're going to be here for like a minute, right? So you get to kind of experiment and put little embellishments on your sequence. So let's do 2 more of these, and then I'll wait for you. You're gonna come forward. When you come forward your second time on your crescent lunge, you'll curl your back too, and lift your back knee. And then, so the back knee bends, the front leg gets straighty, and then the front leg bends and the back leg gets straighty. Going back and forth. You're still breathing. Inhale forward, exhale back. And after one more, we'll do one more full set. We'll lunge forward, but not quite as deep. And you'll activate your belly just enough. See if you can lift your back leg. It doesn't matter if it needs to be quick. If it has to step forward quickly so you don't topple over, that's fine. Front of the mat, here we are. And find your downhill skier shape. In your downhill skier shape, you can reach your hands back if you want. And we'll come up to our tiptoes. If that doesn't bother you in any way. And then try to hug your ankles in towards the midline. Instead of, like, a lot of people's ankles are kind of weak and the heels tend to buckle out to the sides, the outsides. So try to hug them in towards the inside. And then when you're ready, take your right hand to your hip. Take your left hand either to a block or to somewhere along your leg. We're going to twist now to our right. The right hand can certainly start traveling. It's making its way around your body. And you want to be able to breathe. So this isn't a round shape in the upper spine. If it is, you might need to sit up a little bit. Right? It's like you're pulling that right shoulder blade back. The left shoulder blade, believe it or not, pulls forward a little bit. And then after 3 more breaths, if you want to sit lower or higher, it's up to you. Now coming up, take your left hand to a support, or both hands. Totally up to you how you want to manage that. And I'm lifting up your right leg. Sorry, my ankle wants to pop, I can tell, so I'm pausing here and seeing if I want to force that or not. But either way, from this position, you can take both hands down. You're going to step your right foot back. And then we're going to do side angle. So you're twisting away from your front knee. And you could use your left arm to push out your left leg like a little gate opening. And then whatever your right arm does is entirely up to you. And then you'll take the right hand down. You can lift the back knee or keep it down. You know, we're going to twist now, and everything rotates with you on the twist. So it's more like a spiral shape in your body rather than wringing one piece of your spine or your body. Your whole body gets to move like a little rotini. So you're going to step back or not, like you could have that back knee down, right? You're going to find your version of side plank. Doesn't have to look like anything in particular. If you do decide to do any balancing, again, you want to try to use your belly to do the bulk of the balancing here. And then we will find our way back. You can go back to your child's pose all the way, or you can come to your elbows, forearms and elbows. You can take your hands together, and I'm going to invite you to come into dolphin pose. In dolphin pose, our head normally doesn't touch the ground, but that doesn't mean that yours won't, depending on arm length and head size and other various factors. And then if your hands are together, press your palms together deliberately so you get the inner arms or the muscles more engaged here. And if you're feeling lucky, fun, sassy, whatever, take your right knee up to the sky. Notice that you could arch your back to get the leg higher, or you could hollow, scoop your belly a wee bit. Your leg won't go higher, but you will have more integration throughout your body. And then you can stretch the leg out. You could do this in down dog too. Sorry, I should have told you that. So we'll come down. Take a break if you need to, please. Come down to your knees. That rhymed. And then knee, left knee. When you're ready, take your time. I'll be here for a little bit in case you need more time in between. And just a little bit of feeling in your belly, a little bit of the muscles working. And then when you feel that it's appropriate to do so, we're going to come up. We're going to stand up in the back of our mat. It's going to be our last standing thing. So if you can pass through a squat, go ahead. Your heels don't have to be flat in a squat, by the way. In fact, that's actually pretty ridiculous to have your heels all the way flat in a squat for a lot of people. So at the back of your mat, you're going to do a balanced pose. So I'm going to give you the option of using a wall if you need to. I'm going to move this blanket because it's just going to make me very cross. It's going to be in my way. And you want to have something to focus on in front of you, especially if your balance is particularly precarious. We're going to start standing on the right foot. So I'm going to have a wall handy just because my right ankle doesn't love balancing as much as it used to. All right. So lift up your left heel. Right, so it's like you're posing for the camera, and your knee's gonna pop forward. Then you're gonna sit in the chair pose, but again, you've got your legs doing two different things. This could be a good place for you to stop, depending on certain things. Then you're gonna cross
your left leg over your right. You could have your foot on a block, FYI. If you can, lift and balance on one foot. Some people double cross and they take the foot around, I don't know if you can see, the foot around the calf. If that bothers your knee at all or your hip, please don't do it. It's not worth it. And then you're just going to come forward. Now your belly is still working for you. It's still holding you up. You can pause here or you can go for your eagle arms. So you can go right arm on top because your left leg is on top. Go to either your hug shape or your eagle shape. Try to pull the shoulder blades back for this one. And you'll pause here for 3, 2, and 1. And then maybe, without rounding your shoulders, maybe you tap your elbow to your knee. I don't know. It's possible. All right, I'm going to come out. You can stay in longer, but I need to chill out. Okay. So we're going to do the other side. But before we do that, can you just check and see what parts of your body on each side are a little different? This is just a suggestion. Not everybody's body feels the same, doing the same things, but maybe this side feels a little stretched, your left side, maybe your right shoulder, your right leg might feel tired. Just balancing on it. Maybe your ankle hurts. Maybe there's something else. Right? Maybe you were grinding your teeth while you were doing that, and now your jaw hurts. So left leg. So again, right heel up. And for a moment you can pose. And then we'll do our chair pose like this. And then we'll cross the right foot over to the left. This could be a good place to stop for a lot of people. And then if you want, you could pick up the right foot and it can just dangle to the side. It does not have to wrap around the back of the left shin. So here we are. This could be a really good place. Maybe you have a wall next to you. That's fine, right? You gotta chip away at your balance. And we're gonna do left arm on top, hug, hug. If you do take the eagle arms, they will get in your line of vision, right? So you kind of have to find another piece to look at. And you want to keep your shoulders relatively, good posture. And then maybe without hunching forward, you could try to touch your elbows to your knee. Ta-da! You're breathing, aren't you? Good. And then when you're ready, you can unravel. If you can pass through a squat to do this, go ahead. Feet might have to be wide. Toes and knees turning out is actually pretty normal, pretty helpful. And then you can come down anyway. We're going to meet on the floor. So when we're on the floor, we're going to do the eagle shape again. Left foot on the floor, cross the right leg over. Don't worry about double crossing on this one. This one will hurt my ankle anyway. So you guys, if you want to, you can. So you do not have to do eagle arms at all on this one. You can actually have these sort of cactus robot hybrid. So cactus would be like you'd be on the floor with your little 90-degree angles and your elbows, shoulders, and whatnot. Or you could rotate them up. Okay, because that eagle shape, not everyone's favorite, and it is possible to do too much. So from here, you can take your robot cactus, or you can do your left arm on top for your eagle shape. And you're just going to use the hollowing of the belly to come all the way up into the upper chest muscles. And you're not going to pull your chin into your chest either. You're going to try to keep this as much out of your throat as you can. You're just going to come up and do a few of these. If you've got your robot cactus arms, you're coming up and then you're going to come up all entirely and then try to press your elbows into the floor. This is especially good if you've ever had any, most shoulder injuries. You press into the floor. So my elbows are floating and then I press them back.
Same thing. If you've got your eagle, try to press your arms into your chest as you get up to your height. We're going to do it 2 more times. Press, pull your shoulder blades down the back. 1 more time. And then we'll lift the legs, drop the head and chest, relax up here, and we'll come into cow face pose and just give ourselves a little stretch. So if you're used to pulling your shins apart, great, don't worry about it. If you do pull your shins apart, you want to make sure that you're not lifting your chest and your head and your shoulders. Like, you got to be relaxed everywhere. Some people will just pull their heels close. It's all good. All right, from there, put your left foot back down. Keep your legs crossed, your right leg still crossed, and then let your legs drop over to the left. And your right arm could stretch up and back behind you. Your left arm, maybe up to the side. And then look up. So if you stretched your right arm back behind you, look up and towards your right hand. You don't have to look at it, just towards it. And then bring your legs up, keep them crossed. We're not done yet. Stop uncrossing your legs, right leg over left, and then let your legs fall to the right. And then if you're capable of this in the left side of your abdomen or hip flexors, use the weight of your right leg and then push down your left leg a little bit more with your right leg. Like, use not just the weight, but now like actually you're putting a little bit of effort to try and take the inside of your left knee closer to the floor. Not to the floor. I mean, maybe just closer. All right, come on up. Now we can unravel the legs and stretch them out and shake them out or whatever. Then we're gonna do side 2, right foot on the floor, left leg crossed over. Okay, so we're starting with the eagle or the robot cactus. Right arm on top if you're hugging or eagling. And as you exhale, let your belly drop down first before you lift the shoulders, chest, and head. And then see if when you come up, you can exhale, pull your arms into your chest, and then inhale, come down. If you're doing cactus, it's the same thing, right? Pull down. Pull the elbows down. Okay, so let's do 5 more of whatever you're doing at your own pace, because you could just be lying there doing nothing. I mean, that's totally valid. You can do nothing at your own pace. And then when you're done with all this stuff, keep your legs crossed, keep your left leg on top, and then take your legs over to the right. And then the left arm might stretch up tall-ish. You could turn your head in that direction. Make sure your jaw is like chill. See if your neck can relax a little bit too, especially as you start taking your legs up, keeping left leg on top and let them come over to the left this time. Your arms can do whatever you like. And if you have more space in the front here, you could use your left leg to place your inner right knee closer to the floor. You might not have the bandwidth, you might not have the space. Please do not risk pulling an abdominal muscle. That really hurts. I've done it before. It's not pleasant. Excellent. All right. So come up. Ugh, do your thing. Stretch the legs. And whatever feels appropriate to you. We're going to stay on our back. We're going to do one more thing. We're going to revisit the first thing that we did. So we're going to take the hands behind our back. Doesn't matter which way. Just remember which way you did. So you're going to stack your hands. One hand is on top of the other. Backs of your hands are touching each other. Palm on the floor, facing the floor. And just notice if you've able to develop a little bit more space in your shoulder joint. You may not have. It's okay. It doesn't mean you failed at anything. Or maybe you did and you don't know that you did. Right? So if your self-awareness is like that inner body awareness, it might not be in tip-top form today. You may actually have made some little changes. You don't know it. And then go ahead and switch hands. Again, I notice that my hands can go a little further up. It's not like I need to be more flexible, but it's more about how your nervous system perceives your range of motion. So sometimes, like I said, it freaks out. All right, cool. If you want, you can lift your hips up. You could interlace your fingers. If you roll your arm bones underneath your body, you could also go to some robot arms too. If you do go here, bend the elbows a little bit or a lot. You could get your thumbs to go in towards your tailbone. Make sure that you can breathe comfortably as if you were just kind of sitting around doing nothing. We're going to find our way down. And I'm going to suggest that you maybe do a little something before your Shavasana that feels really good. So anything you want to do. I'm going to do a little plow pose with some elevation so my neck doesn't hate me. Whatever you want. You want to go up against the wall for like legs up the wall or legs up the couch. I recommend a little bit of that, a little bit of inversion. You can stay there for your final pose. I'm going to get rid of some of the light in here. So if you're doing something, feels good, you're working your way into your corpse pose, your Shavasana, that's great. Just like always, you can leave at any time. I'm going to end up playing some music for you and then slowly dropping out for another meeting that I have. So I won't be closing out the class, but I'm going to play music for a few minutes.